Hello again, everybody. This is Ron Dittmars talking to you from the Erasmus Academy Recording Studios, and this is our third segment in the series on Origin of Alexandria. And today we have Chad, who's our guest speaker. Chad, you want to say hello?
Hello again, Ron.
Great, great. So you see on the screen here a picture actually drawn by Eileen McGuckin, Origin Teaching the Saints, which she did when she was living in New York with her husband was teaching as a theologian at Union Seminary. So that's one image that we have there, and another one is just a black and white portrait of Origen that you may have seen before. Okay, then going on to the text, here we have it, slightly in a slanted fashion. Let's see. Okay, so we'll follow the same procedure. I'll read aloud, and Chad will repeat after me, and please read with him to get a feel for the sentences, and then I'll ask him questions, and as we piece together the meaning, and please ask in your own mind. Some people even pause the recording for a short time to answer the questions, put it back on, and then hear the answer, which is a good way to go. You can also download the whole text the week before, because it's always given on the Friday before, or you can find the text, all 5 segments of the text, and you can actually translate before the sessions, before hearing the recordings, if you want as well. Okay. As I mentioned before, this is also a text that is quite online with what a typical language proficiency exam would be for any graduate program in the United States or North America. Okay, so if you can get through this, you're in good shape, right, Chad?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Der Gnosticismus war es, der die Probleme aufgeworfen hatte. Everybody?
Der Gnostizismus war es, der die Probleme aufgeworfen hatte.
Good. Let's see, up to that point, here's your first verb here. It was, and you can actually start with S here. It was Gnosticism. And then what does the der refer back to? What is its antecedent?
Gnostizismus.
Exactly, yeah, right. So which, and then verb complex is?
Aufgeworfen hatte.
So werfen is to throw. Auf means throw up, or say open up or initiated, that opened up the problems. This is the direct object, which had opened up the problems. And going on, und sollte Origenes eine Lösung geben können, everybody?
Und sollte Origenes eine Lösung geben können,
Musste es auf gleichem Wege geschehen.
musste es auf gleichem Wege geschehen.
Okay, now when you scan this second part of the sentence from what Chad just read, you have a sollte here, almost like verb first, because you have a und preceding that. And then you have musste following. So when you have musste or so following a verb first construction, it can be the conditional, which is actually is, and you would say literally, and should Origen be able to give a solution, but it really is conditional. And if Origen should be able to give a solution, it must go on. Where's the verb complex there with musta?
Musste geschehen.
That means?
It must happen or occur.
Yeah, good. It must occur. And then finish that. Auf dem gleichen Wege.
In the same way.
Yeah, good. So auf here can take either accusative or dative. It happens to be dative here because of em here on this gleichem, on the adjective. And what about this e? What do we call that?
It's a stylistic e.
Yeah, so-called. It's not necessary for it to be there, but it just helps with the flow of the reading when you read out loud. Auf gleichem Wege instead of auf gleichem Weg. So they like to add the e sometimes in the dative singular. Now, what does this welchen refer back? What is its antecedent?
Wow. Sorry, Ron.
That's okay.
Is it Vega again?
Yeah, it goes right back to here. The reason that I mentioned Vega is because you might confuse this with the plural, but this is a stylistic e. It doesn't have to be there. This is singular. and because welchen can only refer, this is form of it's determined by the number and the gender of its antecedent, so which the opponents and then had opened up, eingeschlagen. Einschlagen is a sense of opening up a path that you're walking through, say through the woods or something, is the sense of that verb. So you want to do this whole first section slowly, translate,
Sure.
so we can follow along?
Sure. It was Gnosticism which had thrown open the problems, and should Origen be able to give a solution, it must occur in the same way, or it had to take place in the same way, which the opponents had opened up or initiated, maybe.
Perfect. Yeah, very nicely done. Okay, going on. Der Gnosticismus war, Harnacks berühmten Ausdruck zu gebrauchen. Everybody?
Der Gnosticismus war, Harnacks berühmten Ausdruck zu gebrauchen,
die akute Hellenisierung des Christentums.
Die akute Hellenisierung des Christentums.
Good. Okay, let's see. Verb is obviously here. Gnosticism was. And then we have zu. What does that mean again?
In order to.
In order to use, gebrauchen, infinitive. What's the direct object?
Well, it's Ausdruck.
Good. And when you tack an S onto a proper noun, that gives it the possessive, which we have right here. In order to use Harnack's, the theologians, famous expression, the acute Hellenization of Christianity. Okay. Good. Aber der Prozess verlief viel zu schnell. Everybody?
Aber der Prozess verlief viel zu schnell,
Eine durchgreifende Bearbeitung des Stoffs zuzulassen.
Eine durchgreifende Bearbeitung des Stoffs zuzulassen.
Okay, so verlaufen means to the past, to elapse, to take its course from verlaufen. It's a past tense verb. So here's your verb. So it took its course. What's the subject?
Prozess.
But the process took its course much too quickly is an adverb. Schnell. Adverbs don't have endings as adjectives adjectives do. And then you have zu again. And why does this zu occur in the middle of this infinitive?
It's because you have the prefix there.
Yeah, so if a verb has a separable prefix that normally floats out to the end of the clause or the sentence, then the zu, if you're forming the infinitive, goes right between the two. So the infinitive is really zulassen, to permit or to allow, but this zu, as part of the zu, in order to, fits right in between there. So whenever a verb has a separable prefix, it would go right there. Okay, in order to allow, and what's your direct object?
Bearbeitung?
Bearbeitung, so a reworking of the material. And here you have an adjective, present participle serving as an adjective. In order to permit a thorough, durchgreifende, and this actually comes from what verb there?
Greifen?
Greifen, to take a hold of, to grab. Grab. Actually, I think grab etymologically comes from greifen. Yeah, to grip also.
Yeah.
In order to allow a thorough reworking of the material. Going on. Dies zeigt sich deutlich im Gottesbegriff. Everybody?
Dies zeigt sich deutlich im Gottesbegriff.
Verb complex?
Seit sich.
Good. So, and how would you translate that?
It demonstrates itself, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, demonstrate. It shows itself.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit colloquial for dieses. So this shows itself, adverb, clearly, deutlich, in the these long compound nouns, it's good to separate the concept of God, or the you could say the concept of God in this case. Normally, the best way to resolve these is to take the second part first, and then the genitive with the first part. Okay, going on. Hier begegnet sich zum ersten Mal in der Geschichte der Kirche. Everybody?
Hier begegnen sich zum ersten Mal in der Geschichte der Kirche.
And here's what is this E? What kind of E is this?
Stylistic again.
Another stylistic E. Ooh, two of them. That's very special in one section here. So here, beginning to see, where's the verb complex?
Yeah, I think it's just begegnen sich.
Good, and that means with a pronoun.
They encounter themselves, maybe.
Perfect. Yeah. So Chad correctly said they encounter themselves. So what sort of a subject you're looking for? Singular or plural?
Plural.
Obviously, is plural. Okay. Now, where is the subject, or where are the subjects?
Yeah, I think you have to float toward the end of the sentence. It's Gottesbegriff and Überlieferung.
Good. Yeah. So the Greek static concept of God and the Jewish Christian tradition. Okay. So these two things encounter themselves would be your core sentence, and then going on zum ersten Mal in der Geschichte der Kirche. Just translate that little section.
For the first time in the history of the church.
Fantastic. This is really a very clearly written. There are no tricks, and it's a really good practice for good practice for preparing for a proficiency exam. Let's see. You want to do the whole thing from here down? The Gnosticismus war?
Sure.
Slowly.
Yeah. Gnosticism was, in order to use Harnack's famous expression, the acute Hellenization of Christianity, but the process took its course too quickly.
Much too quickly.
Right, much too quickly.
Go ahead.
In order to allow a thorough reworking of the material. This shows itself clearly in the concept of God. Here, the Greek static concept of God and the Jewish Christian tradition encounter themselves, I guess, for the first time in the history of the church.
Great. So that takes a long time because you identify the verb first, subject second, and then Chad figured out the order to make it have sense in English, which you did very well. So thanks so much for tuning in, and see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.